LinkedIn is one of the best platforms to expand and engage with your professional network, and it happens to be one of the best ways you can build your professional brand. Now, apart from building out your LinkedIn profile, which I'll cover in another video, the way to establish yourself on the platform and reach out to an audience is by posting, of course. And in this video, I'll show you exactly how to do that, what features are available, and how to be most effective with it. So stay tuned. Hey folks, Richard Walls here, and if you're new to the channel, what it's all about is helping you with career development and personal finance. So if those two topics are of any interest to you, do make sure to subscribe down below and hit the notification bell so you get notified of when I post new content. And it would help me out quite a bit if you like what you see. Also make sure to hit that like button. It helps out with the growth of my YouTube channel. So with that said, let's get to it. Now, over the years, LinkedIn has changed their user interface quite a bit, and they've added a lot of really great functionality. And it's really now more intuitive than ever before. So I'm gonna spend just a little bit of time walking through the basics of how to post, but also I'll go into a little bit more detail on the additional features that they've added in the past few years. So let's head over to my computer and I'll walk you through that. So for starters, posting is pretty easy. LinkedIn is, again, like I mentioned, made it pretty intuitive. They want you to post, they want you to engage in the platform. So what you see here is that to post, it's front and center. So here you can click, it's right in the middle, start a post. Now from this point, of course, once you click, you get a pop-up. And this allows you to insert any text, and you can also insert links to videos or articles, and I'll talk a little bit about that a little bit later. But what you can do is not just text, but you can also include imagery. You can also include video and documents. So again, this is stuff that you can include from your local drive, your hard drive, or wherever you have it stored in the cloud. Whatever images or videos or documents you have stored, you can embed those into these posts. Now, what's also pretty interesting, and this is what I mean by more functionality that they've added, is that you've got these three little dots here, and what that does when you click on it is it expands into another menu that includes what we just talked about. You can add your photo, add a video, add a document. You can also celebrate an occasion, which generally, if you're looking for engagement, this is a good way to do it. It highlights some of your accomplishments as you see fit. Maybe you just got a certification or you just finished a degree earning program. You want to celebrate that. You can post that here. And you can share a few other things. Share that you're hiring if you're an employer. You can find an expert. In fact, let me click into these just to show you what that looks like. For a celebrating occasion, it's not just for yourself. You can also give kudos. You can share a new project, work anniversary, new position, etc. So you have a few options there, and it's just meant to be a quick and easy way. If I go to give a kudos, I can search for colleagues, and Brian D. Scott pops up. So I can give him a shout out for, whatever it might be the case. He did a really great job on this project. So you can recognize colleagues that way. And if you're sharing that you're hiring, of course, this is what happens. I work at Dell, and so if I were an employer or HR, I can post some of these recs. Of course, I think this appears to be dependent upon where you list that you work in LinkedIn, but that's what pops up. One good thing that you can do is you can create a poll. So when it comes to engagement on LinkedIn, this is a really good way to do it. In fact, anytime you post a question or a poll, especially a poll, and here you can ask your question, you can provide your options, you can add options, and you can leave the poll for up to 2 weeks, it looks like. A poll is a really great way to get your audience engaged with your post because you ask a question and then you give some options. It's like a multiple choice test. It's not so much a test, obviously, it's just getting reactions from your audience. And what's good about it is that you're not, you can ask a question on LinkedIn, you can make it open-ended and people can respond, but this is an easier way to get people engaged because you're providing them the possible answer choices. And so they don't have to think as much about how to best formulate a response. they can simply click one of the options. You get a lot of engagement, or you get a lot of ideas too, right? They can select an option and then they can decide to comment, which generally goes hand in hand. But again, it gives an easy way for your audience to engage. And then here you can offer help. I think this came about, I don't know if this came about recently with what happened last year and people found themselves out of work, and this is a way to express that you're able to help in certain areas. But not just that, but of course volunteer work and other ways, referrals, introductions, etc. Now, if we go back to the pop-up, you'll see that there's also a few more options that I wanted to cover here. And this is who your post is visible to. And so in this case, I have it set to anyone. Anyone can see the post that I post. Or I have the option to just do anyone plus Twitter. I can do, this is more important, connections only. If I post something, I can set it to where only my connections can see this post. Or if I'm in a specific group on LinkedIn, of course I can limit or restrict the posts to those members. This is something I always keep open to anyone. I mean, there's nothing I would ever post on LinkedIn anyway that would be private, that I would only want to restrict to my connections. And when it comes to LinkedIn, you want to expand your audience. So you want people to see what you're posting, ideally. But there's another part of this too, is who can comment. And this is a little button right here. Right now, who can comment on your post? If you post this, anyone can comment. So anyone can see it and anyone can comment, which in my opinion is the best way to do it. It's the default, but it's the best way to post because, again, you want to expand your reach. You want to reach a broader audience, and that means not just your connections, but your connections. A few degrees removed. You want this to be more visible. So the more people that see it, of course, the more people that can engage with your posts. And in this case, the more people that can potentially even comment. And then also, of course, possibly lead to another connection for you. Now, again, you can decide not to do that. You can decide to just allow your connections to comment on your post, or you can set it to where no one can comment on your post. Maybe, I don't know, maybe you post something controversial and you don't want a lot of comments blowing up the feed. Now, what I use LinkedIn for a little bit more is I post articles and I post videos. I post videos a little bit more. Of course, I've got this YouTube channel, and so I post a little bit of my content here. But let me just show you what it looks like to post any kind of link. I've got one here on Bitcoin, and this is going to illustrate something interesting. It used to be the case that when you posted a link, I believe this was the case at some point in time in the past, that the thumbnail wouldn't pop up. That's of course changed. Whenever you post a link on here at any point, the thumbnail pops up, and in this case, it's about Elon Musk and Bitcoin. He looks very sinister right here. But I would make sure that whatever link you do post, make sure there's a thumbnail for one that pops up, because when you have imagery, it increases attraction. People want to look at it, people want to engage with it more than if it's just text. And again, it's linked to an article, so you can go there as well. But not only should you make sure that there's a thumbnail, but you should make sure the thumbnail is appropriate, because sometimes there might be articles where there is a thumbnail that really doesn't have anything to do. It could be the fault of the content creator that for some reason maybe overlooked what thumbnail they were putting in there, or LinkedIn is pulling the wrong imagery attached to this article. And so again, just be aware of what thumbnails are popping up, and you want to make it to where it looks attractive enough to click on and to want to engage with, and make sure it's relevant to what you're actually posting about. Now, I'm going to discard that, and if I go to one of my videos, I'm just going to go to what is an MBA degree. And I'm just going to grab the link off of that, so I can click my share button and I get my copy. And what's a newer feature, this is within the last 3 to 4 years, and I guess that's not new at this point, but you can now embed YouTube videos in LinkedIn. So you can play it on LinkedIn. You don't have to go to YouTube, of course you can, it's the link. But whenever you post the link, this is what pops up. Very handy. It embeds the video so someone can watch the video directly on LinkedIn without having to go to YouTube or leave LinkedIn. I think obviously that's the purpose of what LinkedIn is trying to do. They want to keep you on the platform. They don't want to redirect you outside of it if they can help it. So you've got that as an option. So what I'm going to do really quick, there's another piece to it. I'm going to post this here in a sec. So let me get this written out. So now I've got it all typed out. And you can also see those options for adding hashtags. You don't actually have to click add hashtag. You can literally just put the pound sign. But you have options here. It can detect based on what you've posted or have written about. You can add, it gives you suggested tags or hashtags. So you can add MBA in this case, stocks. Oh, I don't know why that's in there necessarily, but MBA degree. So you have some of those options, and again, that's just going to help with visibility a little bit. You don't want to overdo it. I see people overdo this all the time and just have this huge laundry list where they have more tags than they do text. So just stick with 3. 3 is probably fine. And I'm just going to go with those. Now, if I go ahead and post it, I'll show you what happens. And we post. So this is what pops up. And of course, like I said, it's embedded. You can actually click the video and it'll play. So that's a good thing. But what if I made some kind of typo, or maybe I wanted to change something? You can do that as well after the fact. When you see your post, you can actually come up to these 3 little dots on the upper right-hand corner of that post, click that, and you have the option to edit the post. And at that point in time, you can also decide who can comment, who can see, and you can change the visibility settings. But I'm going to go in here and edit the post. And, well, actually, there's really nothing I want to edit. But if I did, I can go in and change whatever I wanted to change. Also, if for whatever reason I regret immediately posting this, or even a little bit later, if I decide to take it down, I can do that as well from this menu. I can delete the post. So again, it gives you plenty of options. You can save for later. You can feature this in your profile, which means that whenever you go to your profile, which this is what mine looks like, there's a section for featured. And so here's where I generally feature some of my posts, which tend to be my videos, my video content. So you can feature that on your LinkedIn profile. So when someone visits your profile, they'll see whatever it is that you posted that perhaps maybe you're proud of, or you took a really strong position on this one topic. People can see that and it's featured. So that's a plus. Now, another way to post is by resharing. So you can take what someone else has said or what someone else has posted, and you can reshare that. So let me find something interesting. Okay, tech related. Qualcomm announces world's first 10 gigabit 5G modern RF system. And there's an option down here at the bottom of every post where you can share. So when you click share, what pops up is your section to post whatever it is you want to post. So what's embedded here is the original author of that post, what they said in the article, of course, whatever, if there may not be an article, but whatever it is that they posted will show up here embedded, and then you have your section to write what you want. You can, of course, mention people as well. This is who pops up here, but you can mention people or companies, schools, as it says here. But what I really recommend is if you're resharing a post, it's always best to, whenever possible, add your own value, add some of your own text, your own ideas or thoughts. Maybe you agree or disagree with the post. This is where you can add color and depth to your brand on LinkedIn. So again, very helpful whenever you do reshare. It's always best to try to do that. You don't have to do it every time, but it just helps build and establish your brand on the platform. So now that we've gone through how to post and what some of the features were, just 3 quick tips. Whenever you're posting on LinkedIn or want to build your brand or expand your network, Number one is you want to post consistently. I'd recommend maybe once a week at minimum. That shouldn't be too much. Find an article or find something that you're passionate about, maybe some current events, and post about it. Add your own commentary, and that way you can showcase your expertise in a particular subject. The second part is, as I mentioned earlier, questions and polls are a really great way to get engagement to your posts. And questions, if you ask a question, leave it open-ended for people to type out a response. That's fine, but then people have to do the work of thinking of a response and how to best articulate it and type it out. Polls, on the other hand, as I showed earlier, are a much better way to get that engagement because you're not forcing someone to think too hard. They see a question and they're given these options for answers. So they don't have to think about how to best articulate it. They can just select one of the answers provided. And then lastly, as I mentioned earlier, when you reshare a post, make sure to add your own commentary to it. Again, that's just going to build your brand a lot better than just simply resharing a post, right? You can add your commentary based on your experiences, based on your knowledge, and that's something you can communicate on this platform. So I hope those tips helped, and I hope you got some value out of how to post on LinkedIn and how to be effective with it. And then of course, some of the features that you may or may not have already known about. Again, this is just another way to build your sphere of influence, your professional brand, and LinkedIn is a great platform. With that said, thank you for watching, and I'll see you around.